Are you there? Say a prayer for the pretender.
Hi, this is Bob Glaub. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Strong, only to surrender.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We're coming to you on location today from sunny Hollywood, California with our old friend Bob Glaub. Hey Bob.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. It's great to see you again. Actually it was a phone interview a couple of years ago or back. I think it was around 2015.
That sounds right.
So we got the whole story of your upbringing, and I think you were in New York, and then you came to LA, and all the stuff that you did. Great interview. Bob Glaub, sorry Bob, Glaub on ForBassPlayersOnly.com. Just put that in the search thing, it'll pop right up. It's actually a feature. And what I wanted to talk to you about is what you've been doing since then. And there were actually two highlights that I want to mention that I always think of you. Back in the 80s, when I played all those weddings and all those club dates, the last song of the night was Donna Summer, Last Dance.
Yeah.
But a great bass line. That's you on that
me,
record.
Yeah.
And the other is the Jackson Browne song, The Pretender. Are you there? Say a prayer for the pretender. And then the bass comes. That's you also,
That's
right?
me, yeah.
And you play it a hell of a lot better than I just sang it.
You actually sang it pretty well, one of the lines. But I tour with Jackson currently. I mean, not this minute, but I just got home from a tour of Japan with them. And, we play that song almost every night. Not every night, but
Well, do you
play it.
vary that solo when you play it? Or is the rest of the band counting on hearing you play it a certain way?
A little bit.
It's a great line.
Yeah, I don't always play that line that you sing, but I play it. I don't step outside the box on that too much. Yeah.
So, generally speaking, what's keeping you busy these days?
Well, I tour with Jackson Browne. Part of the year. He's got about 12 weeks of touring next year coming up, starting in March till about August, beginning of August next year. So I'll be in and out of town with him. And between that, play on the occasional, more than the occasional, play on records for people still. A lot of them are indie record companies. Some are, people who have their own, put out their own records. We call those vanity projects, but they're not really vanity projects because now people are just releasing their own records on, making a label and releasing them themselves. So I'm doing that. Next week I'm recording with someone, well-known producer, just produced well-known producer named Mitchell Froome. He just produced Randy Newman's last album, co-produced it. He's doing a French artist that I'm playing on.
Randy Newman, Short People? Randy
that guy.
Newman?
Yeah, but he's producing a French artist, and I'm playing for him next week, and then another artist a week later. So I'm busy doing all kinds of stuff,
But that
recording.
scene has changed so much. How has that affected your life? Unless you're Bob Glaub or Lee Sklar or Abe Laboriel or Neil Stubbenhaus or, a handful of people, what is that scene like now for you compared to what it was back in the, the heyday?
I mean, back in the heydays, a lot of us, I can't speak for everyone, but I know Lee was, and probably Lee still is, but no one's working like the amount we did back then. We had cartage companies, and we'd be at one session from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and they would be there right there to pick up our equipment to drive it across town to another session that went from 7 p.m. till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and that was like that for a number of years, and that's not happening so much. But we're all working and staying busy. I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm doing things that I like to do. People call me, they've got records. There's a lot of talented songwriters out there, a lot of talented young artists, and I if somebody calls me that I'm interested with, I play with them. So I'm doing that. I'm just kind of doing more of the same, Yeah,
I guess what I'm getting at, though, is unless you're already established, like you and the other guys that I mentioned, is there, if somebody wants to break into, I want to say session work, but that doesn't even feel right saying that because it's not like it used to be. Is there
Yeah.
anything for those people?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I just got called by a really talented young bass player that's a friend of mine, and he's kind of moved over to producing records. So, I mean, he came out here and, well, he actually grew up outside of LA. But, you know, he came to town, started playing with a couple bands and started touring with another band. And, you know, made a name for himself, and he's doing, he's starting to produce records. So he's kind of moved over to that side. He's a multi-instrumentalist. So yeah, there's a way in. You start playing with people. It's just different. It's just there's not as much stuff through record companies that are signatories of the union. So it's a lot of non-union work. You know, that means the pay scale is going to vary project to project. It won't be regulated by a union. It's going to vary from project to project, and you have to be willing to make deals with people and not always expect the same level of pay and the same level of comfort in touring. So you have to be willing to be flexible. And so I think there is work for people.
Where do you think the industry is going? Because there are still records being made, but there aren't record stores like there used to be. Is touring more important than it used to be because people can get their stuff on YouTube now? Or just taking everything into account, where do you see the music business or the record business going?
I don't have a crystal ball for the music business.
Just wonder if you had a feel for it.
I have a feel that live music's always been a vital part of lifestyles for people. I think people like to get away, and hear music, see and hear music. And I think more than ever, it's a vital part of the music business. And bands and singers, they sell their product as well at venues while they tour. So I think live music is more important than ever. And then promoting yourself on a grassroots level, getting out there if you're a young artist, playing small venues around the state or around the country.
Social media didn't exist back.
And then building your social media presence, you have to do that. And then as far as selling product, I think it's more about getting placements in film and TV and TV commercials, radio jingles, stuff like that for revenue. That's where the big money, not in airplay anymore. Not airplay radio, but I mean, airplay on Spotify and stuff. They pay so little, and Apple Music. So your income stream, it definitely has changed. For me, it's very similar to what it used to be. I still do sessions, and I still play live. So my world has not changed that much. The world has changed is that there's not as many major record labels signing artists that pay X amount of dollars a day for my services. When I go record, it's sometimes for less than I'm used to. Sometimes it's what used to, I don't like to use that term, but what union standards are, or guys get double scale, union scale. That's kind of been a thing for a long time here on both coasts and in Nashville. It's not always the case. The budgets just aren't what they used to be. Record companies don't give that kind of budgets. Independent artists don't have those kind of budgets. So if you want to play music, you just do it for less money and for the love of doing it. So my life has not changed that much. I'm as busy as ever.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear.
Yeah, because I've been I think because trying to be flexible.
Let's talk a little bit about your gear and your equipment. What are you playing these days?
Well, on stage, we'll start on stage. Okay. On stage, I play. I've got an Ampeg bass rig, which is two 1x12 cabinets, and a VR4B, a 100-watt tube head. That's what I'm using for the last couple of years when I tour with Jackson. And then I play a couple recent Fender reissue basses. They're called the 63 Vintage Reissue.
Oh, yes.
They're
I've
really
seen those.
Nice, lightweight, good-sounding P basses. I was touring with my vintage, my 59 P bass. I kind of retired it from the road for a while. I kind of miss it. Those new basses are good, but they're not quite as good as my 59P bass.
I sat on this bench yesterday and played Duck Dunn's
Oh, yeah, I just played
59P bass.
Yeah, that's a magic bass.
Yes.
Wow.
With those labella flat wounds.
Yeah, that's I use the labella flat wounds. And then I also have a D. Lakin P bass, which was my signature model with him. His company is now defunct, I guess, for lack of a better word. He's no longer producing basses. But there are some out there, and I happen to have a couple, and they're really good.
Yes.
So I have one that I
Love the
gave to
Lakeland
Jackson as a gift.
Wow.
And I have another one, and I don't like it as much, so...
Can I have it?
I made him I have it at home. Actually, I just loaned it to my girlfriend's son, my stepson, who's a really talented musician and is doing the whole grassroots thing with his new record. He just had a record release party around the corner last night. Anyway, yeah, that bass is so good. I made Jackson not take it home and keep it on the road with the gear because I like playing it so much. So I play those, and I play a Kala U bass.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, I play it. I have it on stage. I play it on maybe 2-3 songs per night, and sometimes less, sometimes more. Jackson changes his set list quite a bit, so depending on what songs he calls, there's a couple songs that I like playing.
Did you bring that to a show or a rehearsal one time, and what was his initial reaction, or did he know about it, or did he request it? I'm just curious how that.
No, he didn't request. I just brought it, and tried it on.
Did
a
he
couple
say,
songs.
"What is that"?
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he says smaller is bigger. He said that actually the other night. He didn't want to hear it on one song because he says smaller in this case is bigger, and he said the bass is too big on that song, so he wanted me to not play it and play like a Fender. So, but I do like it on some of the songs, and I like playing. I play the hollow body U bass at home, on stage with him. On records lately, I've been playing one of those, but more I've been playing the little solid body 4-string. I don't know the name of that bass. The sub bass. It's called the sub bass. I love that. And then
I know there's a Bagiti Kumalo signature solid body, which is very cool.
I think that might be different because it's a 5-string probably. I think that's a 5.
I don't remember.
So mine's I think the same thing but a 4.
Are you much of a 5-string player at all?
I own a couple and I play them when I need to, but I don't gravitate towards playing it unless the music calls for it.
Okay.
Which is once in a while somebody will have a demo of a song, and they've already done it. And it has a low D flat or a low whatever, something below E. And I also keep, for sessions, I have a Lakeland BG signature model that's tuned D across, all the way, tuned a whole step down, all the way across. And then I have another one tuned to E flat, so I don't have to play 5-string. I don't have it below D. If it goes down to D flat, if I need that, I'll pull out the 5-string, one of a couple 5-strings. Yeah, when I go to recording sessions, I have a lot of basses to choose from. And I usually take 2 59P basses, one with flats, one with round wounds, one has a rosewood neck, one has a blonde neck. And then I've got harmony basses and K basses and various Gibson and Guild basses. And I use Hofner basses too quite a bit.
The Beetle bass?
I've got a Beetle bass. I've got a club bass that I like playing even more, just because the way they sit on your lap. The Beetle basses kind of slide around when you're sitting down there. They're more comfortable to stand up almost.
Because of the shape of them.
Yeah. So shout out to Hofner, because my friend Rob Olson actually just hit me up with a couple of really great Hofner basses that I love. A reissue club bass and one called Thin Line, of both amazing instruments. So I love those. So yeah, I have a bunch of basses to choose from when I go do sessions. And lately I've been bringing the sub bass, maybe a Hofner, either a K or a harmony, and a couple P basses. I usually bring about 4 or 5 instruments. If the sub bass, I'll call it a half instrument because it's so small.
It's got a big sound.
Yeah, huge sound. Yeah.
You mentioned Labella. Is that pretty? You've been with them for a long time.
Oh yeah. Richie Coco and I are old friends, and they make great strings. And yeah, I've been using their strings for God, I don't know, for over 40 years now. Richie and I have known each other for probably 35 of those years, I'm thinking. And now his son Eric and I
Lorenzo
are friends, and and his daughter. And he has left the company, but Bob Archigian used to work with them. They've been so helpful to me. I can't be more thankful to them for all the help they've given me over so many years. And they're beautiful people too.
They are.
Oh, and another new amp I have. Actually, Eric Coco from Labella has a bass store in Brooklyn. I've been there.
I've been there.
Been. He's invited me, but I haven't had the time.
I had pizza with him and a bunch of guys.
I can't wait to go have pizza in Brooklyn with him and go see his store.
It was good pizza.
Yeah, I'll bet. They got the kind there.
Oh, yeah.
He was telling me about this new Phil Jones amp.
Yes.
So I bought Sight Unseen. I just took his word for it. I bought this Phil Jones. It's called the Studio 77. And that is a killer amp. It's one of the amps I have at home that I kind of play through every day now for about the last year.
The little speakers, right?
Yeah, little speakers like 4 or 5, I think 5 inch.
Yeah.
I love that little amp, and I've taken it to some sessions. I'm kind of an Ampeg guy. I've been using the Ampeg for years. I have a B15, and I've got a couple of their newer model, the B50. Is it the B50? It's their newer Portaflex amps. And I use on stage Ampeg gear. I'm really I love Ampeg stuff. But this Phil Jones amp is a little different. It's a kind of a cleaner, more just a cleaner kind of sound.
He's been really becoming more and more popular.
It's just more transparent or something. It's a different. Oh, and another amp I use all the time. I'm forgetting. I have so much gear. Is my old friend James Demeter makes a great amp that I use. God, I don't know the model number. It's like a BV. I don't know. It's his 800 watt Class D amp with a tube preamp.
You were talking about the amp.
One of my favorites. That's the amp I use on sessions a lot too. When I can't fit my B15. My B15's heavier. This head weighs 10 pounds, and I'll bring it and use it like a direct out.
When you go to Japan, for example, do you take those big Ampeg
they're
cabinets?
Not that big. They're just 1x12s. Yeah, but they went. Yeah.
And you said a tube amp, right?
Yeah, it's a tube amp. Yeah, it's big. Yeah, no, it all has. They're all in road cases.
They're people that know how to pack them. Right?
Yeah.
What else can you foresee in the future? What else what do you plan to do, or what else would you like to do that maybe you've never done before?
Like to do that I've never done before.
Hey, bass-wise, musically speaking.
Well, bass-wise, I like playing guitar too, so I'd like to get better at that.
I didn't know that.
I'd like to get better at playing bass. I was toying around with the idea of there's a couple basses I saw at the show just now. The upright. There's a folding upright there. I'd like to, maybe actually play the upright I have and get better at that.
Do you know who
I have an upright?
Charlie Chadwick? Do you know Charlie?
Yeah, Chadwick makes nice basses.
They fold in half.
Yeah, right, the Chadwick basses. Yeah. I was looking at the Lemur basses in there that Ron Carter plays and Christian McBride play. They travel with, I guess. That's a nice folding bass. And I was looking at Ned Steinberger. He has a 34-inch scale electric upright, same scale as a Fender P-Bass. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So I'd like to just get better. Whoop, I just spit on your mic. Get better at that. Besides that, what do I see in the future? There's taxes and death and old age.
That you look forward to? Okay.
No, I don't look forward to. I'm just kidding. What else? Just more of the same. Just stay current, stay interested, stay current, meaning, be interested in current music. I have a lot of friends who don't like listening. There's nothing good coming out. They don't like listening to new music. So I just like to stay interested and, go out and support live music and, just keep having fun. It's been a fun ride for about 45 years. I don't think I have another 45 left in me, but whatever I've left, I want to have fun doing it. You know?
I think you've still got a lot of notes left in you.
I got a lot of notes, but I don't think I've got 45 years.
I don't remember if I asked you this last time or not, Bob, but what would you be if you weren't a bass player? Something outside of music.
Fries with that, ma'am? I don't know. I really don't know. I found that I was going to do that at a really young age. Like by the time I was 14, 15, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to do anything else. There was a period where I thought, oh, I'll get a degree in English Lit and be a, school teacher, or I'll be my dad was a cabinet maker. I probably could have gone, I worked with him for many years. Do that. I was interested in, home building and, that kind of stuff. I like home remodeling. But once I started playing music, I was interested in architecture. But that meant going to school and a lot of math classes. That's not my strong suit.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. It seems to have worked out just fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I think I would have failed miserably at probably anything else.
Well, it is so great catching up with you, and I know we bump into each other 2-3 times a year. It's always good to see you, and we will be there.
Okay, my man.
All right, on location with our good friend Bob Glaub in sunny Hollywood, California. I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
So let's